Hi all and welcome to a new video. This is a brief breakdown of all the squads in the Star Wars Shatterpoint core box. I'm not a big enough YouTuber to get a free set of this yet, so this information is coming from the free rules, online, and pictures of the cards I found. There are 4 squads in the main set, and while it is possible to mix and match these squads to an extent, I will be exploring them in the recommended setups. Just keep in mind, you have 2 squads in a strike team and all units in a squad must be from the primary unit's era. Nothing is stopping you from taking Lord Maul, Bo-Katan, and some clones in a unit together, except they may not synergize the best. Starting off with our primary units is Lord Maul. Lord Maul as a baseline has 11 stamina, which is sort of like health. Once you reach 11 stamina, you get 1 durability knock, and once you get 2 durability knocks, you are defeated. And a durability knock is considered wounded. And in the initial squad releases, 11 stamina and 2 durability is pretty average. Let's go over his abilities. He has the ability to give force speed, which advances him, unless it says otherwise. The unit in the words means individual character of what I read. There is no place to run has reposition keyword built in, and lets you pull a chosen enemy character to range towards you and gives them exposed, which means their save is worsened. It just gives you a lot of movement options. Revenge, I must have revenge, lets you make a retaliatory attack with a character from this unit when it is attacked, which is very useful. It is also considered an innate ability. Sustained by Rage lets you suffer damage to do even more damage and activate force powers you wouldn't be able to otherwise with said damage sustained, making it a kind of nice tit for tat. Now we're going to go into the complicated part. What do all of these symbols on his cards mean? Well, the 2 charts at the bottom are expertise charts, being the thrown lightsaber, double-sided lightsaber, perfect defense, double-bladed lightsaber, and Juyo. And they correspond to a dice facing, and are a way to do cool things, as if you roll 3 expertise facings during an attack, you can get an extra crit, which is that circle symbol with the star, a hit, which is the star, and the little explosion looking thing is damage. Now, the 2 card facings represents Maul's 2 stances, Dark Rage and Sinister Cunning. Dark Rage abandons perfect defense and ranged attacks for melee dominance. Exploring the attack sequence is needed, so here are some basics. You roll some dice equal to your attack stat, the triangle number, and you resolve the effects. You use the expertise, but don't do that center thing yet, and the defender does the same thing but with defense dice and defense expertise. After you cancel out all the saves, you take the remaining number and play out that many options starting on orange. Think of these like video game combos. So as an example for the top path, you are shoving the enemy rage 1, and then moving after them and giving them 2 damage tokens. Next is a reposition if you so choose, and 2 more damage. If you go top, you pin them, which means they cannot move the next time they try, and 1 damage. The bottom path gives the previous mentioned exposed and a damage. The final trail goes, Maul heals 2 and does damage, Maul can jump and deal damage, and then just 3 damage. Below, the only other unexplained icon is the 2 dots. Those are strained, which means the next time they advance they suffer 3 damage. Hopefully this makes sense, and now that you understand a little of what I am saying, let's get into some more details. Also, some of these effects, like the ones that affect you, don't always take effect until after you're done with the combo sequence. So, you can't shove someone out of taking damage from you, and you can't reposition yourself outside of combat to stop you from being able to do things. His expertise for the melee is the same, however, his defense for Dark Rage also heals you, so it makes it a little better on defense, which makes up for losing 1 dice, and the ability to do any ranged attacks. Which, by the way, a range 4 is pretty good for a lightsaber wielder. Lord Maul is really good at some ranged combat with Sinister Cunning, and taking advantage of those repositions and pushes given by Saber Throw is really good. When you get into close range, Dark Rage is solid and harder hitting, and you have a lot of options to choose from, and while you're rolling less dice for defense, having that option is still good. Next up is Saxon, who is a mobile secondary unit, who is amazing with the supporting, or if they ever come out with a primary unit, is a Mandalorian as well. He has 9 stamina and 2 durability, which is average for secondary units. Pride of the Mandalore is a great buff to other Mandalorians, letting them jump when Gar activates. Jetpack lets him make a jump action. Mandalorians are stronger together is another good buff to your Mandos, giving them a focus action. I've got you in my sights gives him Sharpshooter 2, which means the enemy cannot benefit from cover. Another good buff to his range, and it also gives him a Hunker token after a focus action, which gives him cover 1. Pack Hunter lets you get more attack dice if you are targeting an enemy character already engaged with another Mandalorian unit. Now, only primary units have 2 different stances, so this is a little easier to do. He does have an interesting set of combos as well. His expertise pools are focused on getting him more crits and strikes, and his defense expertise is a pretty generic block, but still good. His actual combo chain has 2 sections. One that focuses on damage and shoving and pinning the enemy, and the bottom one focuses on pure damage and gives them strained. Considering he does have range 5 shooting, getting shots in while staying safe is easy for him. He also has a ton of movement options built into his top combo to keep the enemy far away from you. Minor complaint is range 5 shooting for someone known for using snipers is a little sad, as other units that just have pistols also get range 5, which I mean, come on. Finally, the recommended supporting unit for this, the Mandalorian Super Commandos. The Mandalorian Super Commandos are an interesting and very durable support unit. They come in a pair of 2. At 8 stamina and durability 2, you want to be getting them within melee to mess with the enemy with their abilities. They also have a jetpack like Saxon, so they get the jetpack jump ability. They also have the Mandalorians are stronger together keyword, continuing that great synergy with Saxon. No Mercy lets you get damage on enemies who retreat from being engaged with you, which is amazing. Victory or Death gives impact, which gives additional dice for melee attacks. Also, really good. The Mandalorian Super Commandos attacks have a surprising amount of depth for a supporting unit. The expertise gives you some decent crits in melee, and the defense dice is the standard support. They have a range 4 attack, which is okay. The baseline combos can go 3 different ways and can give a new condition, Disarmed. It's the broken gun, so if you take the top path, you are doing damaged, disarming, which makes it so the next attack expertise dice do not count. Exposed, which means the expertise dice don't count for defense, and then 2 shoves. The middle and bottom paths are more for doing straight damage and pinning, but that top combo has a lot of synergies with other units, and can leave someone more exposed for a heavy hitter to come in and finish them off. Also, their flamethrower expertise is pretty good considering they're a supporting unit. All around, not a bad pick. Next up is Asajj Ventress, who is a very well done mobile assassin. She's a little weaker at 9 stamina, but that is more than made up for with her 3 durability. By the way, this is the point where I'm going to explain how squads work. You see that SP in the top left corner of Ventress? Well, that's how many squad points she can have under her. So you can put any amount of squad points equaling or under 8, and you can take those with her. Just an FYI. Anyway, 3 durability is amazing, and she is the first one who has this. It gives her a lot more durability, and makes her harder to clear off. Dathomirian Dexterity is a force power that can give her jump and can be used twice in an activation. Force Push lets you move someone within range 3, another range 3, away from you. Riposte lets you make an enemy unit suffer damage after attacking you. Slip Away lets you escape from melee and gain cover with a Hunker token. And Sith Assassin lets you heal and move and refresh force powers depending on what type of unit you wound. Again, going very much into the assassin here. These are a little harder to see, I apologize, but Ventress has no ranged. But Form 2 Makashi's stance has good expertise in getting you a lot of crits easy. It can also heal you, and is focused on making you mobile while dealing a lot of damage. If you get 3 or 4 successes out of the 7 dice, you are healing 3 to 4 health with every attack. Or stamina, you get what I mean. I'm just gonna say healing and health for my own sake. I don't like jargon keywords sometimes, I'm sorry. Jar-Kai is focused on aggression and defense, as its defensive expertise deals damage to the enemy for attacking you by letting you fight back while blocking. The top path is focused on damage, and the bottom on disarming and pinning the enemy. The final path has a new symbol, Activate Ability for free, which lets you use any ability with that symbol for free, not using any force powers to do it. After that, it's more damage and a shove. The secondary unit for this is Kalani, who is a droid ordering machine. Focusing on buffing your battle droids, he has 10 stamina and 2 durability, which is very good for a secondary. An extra stamina is always useful. Roger lets you get an advance on supporting battle droid characters, and Tactical Network lets you choose another allied droid within range 4 and advance and then hunker them. Or let them remove a condition or make a 5 dice attack. Pretty good. Target Concentrate All Firepower gives a passive 1 dice bonus to attacks to any droids within range 4. Complete Analysis gives you the ability to place them in reserve for cheaper. Placing a unit in reserve means you are choosing when you can activate them, which is a fun thing to do with Kalani, a nice little tactical droid buff. Kalani has only 1 stance, as most secondaries appear to. Or do, really, actually, in later writing this. His expertise sections are a little weaker all round, except for range, which just needs 2 expertise to pop off. He has a ranged 5 shooting, which, this is where my Saxon complaint comes in, that someone, like this, technically has slightly better shooting than him. His two paths can be an infinite loop, which is interesting in the first time we're seeing it. It starts normal enough with damages and shoves, then a free ability activation and disarm or pin, which are both good choices. By the way, there is no such thing as ending an attack because you don't have more spaces to clear. There's always a way to make sure you use all your dice facings every single time. Just an FYI. I'm just noticing that this is the first time it seems designed to give you a lot of options. All in all, everything he has is built around buffing other battle droids, with a surprising amount of good expertises, and if they come out with a primary battle droid, he may feel like a must-take. However, if you just run 2 units of squads of droids, which I mean, General Grievous is coming with more droids, he is buffing almost your entire, whatever they're called, your entire force. I'll just call it a force. And Ventress's supporting units are the B1 battle droids. The battle droids are an average health support unit with 3 innate abilities that are always on. Stamina 9, durability 2 is a surprise, but considering they are 3 B1s on a base, it makes sense. Combat AI protocols means when it takes a combat action, the target gets pinned or strained. Well, guess I'm in charge now means that instead of putting it in reserve, you place it at the bottom of your order deck. Which helps in controlling activation order, a little, but also means you're never putting these things in reserve. I hate this job means it gets to remove 1 damage whenever it defends while on an objective, which is good. They also have what you expect for their stance, and also have surprisingly decent expertise, getting a decent amount of hits and not many defense saves at all. That being said, it is a very basic on everything. Range 5 is very good, and with 7 dice, you get a decent amount of stuff. However, they barely have any defense dice, so this is how they get wiped off the battlefield. Damage, going into a reposition, exposed, and then pin or shove, is good. Also an infinite loop, which can be fun when you're rolling 7 dice. You can go around in a circle a couple times if you feel like it. Starting off with the primary unit, Ahsoka Tano, Jedi No More, since Ahsoka Tano Apprentice is a thing. She is a little like Ventress, with 9 stamina and 3 durability, and she is a trick unit, who is good at reflecting damage. Force speed seems to be on most forced users at this point, so it is what it is. What's the matter? Too fast for you is a mouthful, however it takes 2 force to activate, and halves the damage Ahsoka takes in melee, and puts the other half on the attacking unit. Deflect lets you make an attacking range suffer 2 damage if it rolls a failure symbol, which, cool. Fierce Protector lets you advance towards an enemy unit that hurt an allied unit, heal Ahsoka 3, or if you become engaged, make a 5 dice melee attack. All really good. And now to add some confusion, Ahsoka's Jarkai is different from Ventress's Jarkai. She also has no ranged. Her expertise in both forms allows you to strike back at the enemy, and are exactly the same. And the melee expertise are almost exact copies. However, one gets a couple more crits. Form 5 is a defense form, and you can either heal or move a ton. Not much more to say, really. Jarkai is if you want to deal damage heavily. Having it disarmed is the second option, and 3 damage as the third is also really good and can easily shut down the enemy's expertise without too much of a problem. Strained on the top and pinned and a shove on the bottom as well. Chef's kiss. Amazing. Now onto the secondary unit of Bo-Katan Kryze. Bo is a little weaker of a secondary stamina-wise, with only 8 and 2 durability. She is the weakest of the core set. And she and the other Mandos are my biggest problem, and you'll hear about this as I go. Bo has Pride of the Mandalore, which is the same as Saxon, and in fact about half her abilities are exactly the same as Saxon's and the other Mandos. I get having shared abilities, but for a core set, you would think they would choose something more unique. Mandalore Will Survive is an innate ability and lets you advance and heal too. Some of Us serve a higher purpose, lets you grant friendly Mandos within range 3 protection and steadfast. With the wording, however, it doesn't sound like it applies to her. Protection is damage removal, and steadfast means you're immune to first shove from an attacker, so that's you hold down an objective. Bo's stance card is interesting. Melee and ranged expertises both do the same amount of crit, and then extra damage. Beskar armor is decent for armor. It is mainline for all Mandos, which I'm very okay with. Her path is interesting, starting with damage and then moving into pinned and some shoves, or jump shove, and then even more shoves. It's fun. It does help her feel more unique as she has an easy way to focus an enemy to move around the field how you want them to. The Clan Kryze Mandalorians present another problem I have with this core set. For the same point cost as the Super Commandos, they have 1 less stamina and less abilities to take advantage of. In essence, you are taking these to partially ignore cover with Sharpshooter 1 and nothing else. They also have the standard Mando Stronger Together and Jetpack combo. I am okay with these guys being more similar since they are a supporting unit, and I do like how you can mix and match squads so easily. However, once again, I do think that maybe something else that wasn't just 50% almost of the exact same Mando types were chosen to be part of the core set. I like intros to actually give you uniquely playing factions. This is my only complaint reading over these rules. That being said, I'm probably still going to get it at some point, or try it on Tabletop Sim. They do have an interesting melee expertise, however, and I am now realizing that the Westar block isn't the same as bows, and I do like that. They have uniqueness sprinkled in here. They are not all carbon copies, it just feels worse sometimes. They also have range 4 shooting. Their Beskar armor is a little worse, but for a supporting unit, that's fine. They also have weaker stamina, but a decent amount of defense dice for a support unit, more than making up for it. There really is only one path here. Either starting with pin damage, shove damage, and then moving into either shutting down attack or defense expertise, and then into more shove and damage. Very useful for supporting unit to mess with your enemy, as most support units seem to just give out these things to make your other things better, which is good. That's what they're supposed to do. And now is the Anakin Skywalker section. Anakin is cool. He is a tank of a primary with 11 health and 3 durability. He is far and above the hardest to kill of the entire core set. Force jump is a fun movement option. I'm going to end this is a great way to get double attacks on something. Deflect is the same as Ahsoka's, a great way to transfer some damage. And this is where the fun begins, gives you struggle, sort of priority, towards your space whenever you wound something. And whenever you wound a primary, another Galactic Republic unit heals 1. A ton of fun. Now, Anakin has decent expertise, with one leaning into crits and another strikes. However, Form 5 has really good damage reflex onto people, and with the gem so doing a little less but getting crits instead, it is actually kind of worth it. I love the similarities yet differences to this and Ahsoka's. Playing into this master and apprentice relationship in game design is amazing. They both have unique defense forms, but it shows that he is the one who taught her these. Form 5 Shen is an amazing in self-healing and damage dealing and shoving. But honestly, to have a unit with this much strength already have healing and the ability to shove and the ability to jump, oh my goodness, it's amazing. And Form 5 Gem So is a lot of damage, strained, and pinning. Also, rolling 8 attack dice is just fantastic. In general, Anakin is nothing. I hate to say, he is special, but just not specialized. The last secondary unit of the core box set is Captain Rex. Captain Rex is an interesting secondary in that he has a lot of fun flavor and buffs for allied Galactic Republic units. 9 stamina and 2 durability is average for what we've seen so far. Get a move on soldier is a fun way to get you or an allied unit in advance and a hunker. Defensive maneuver is an interesting ability that lets him advance and gain hunker, which hunker gives you cover, so you're going to hear this a lot with the clones. They're very good at it. I'm Always First Kid lets you buff an allied clone trooper supporting unit within range 3, and after it makes a combat action, Rex can advance and make a 5 dice melee, or ranged, the first time I've had to say or ranged, attack to one of the same enemy characters if it is within line of sight. Bring It On Clankers lets you get an allied clone within 3 who gained hunker or heal 1. Brothers in Arms means while Rex is hunkered, he has steadfast, which means he is immune to the first shove. Rex has a range 5 shooting, and has 2 very interesting expertise pools, giving a lot of crits. I wish his defense was called something else, since he doesn't have phase 2 armor. Just his own custom set of custom-made phase 1 merged with phase 2 armor. A tiny nitpick. Rolling 7 dice for attack at melee and ranged, and 5 defense dice is solid for a secondary unit. And you have 2 very simple paths. You're either doing a ton of damage and giving exposed shove, or doing damage and then healing and shoving pinning. The reposition is also useful. He is built to be heavy on good on ranged. And finally, our last supporting unit, the 501st Clone Troopers. The 501st clones have 7 stamina and 2 durability, which is odd that they're weaker than the B1s. They also have defensive maneuver, which works and work well with Rex, giving them extra keywords while having hunker. Coordinated fire means you can add strain to an enemy unit within range 5 of when you're attacking it. And Brothers in Arms gives you steadfast when you have hunker, which, you just have a lot of bonus stuffs that you can do when you're hunkered down. Out of all of the art as well, this is the only one where the perspective doesn't work for me. The proportions feel a little off, and the same artist did the Clan Kryze Mandalorian art and really did good, so it kind of just feels like this was rushed and slapped together art cards. Part of me hopes these aren't the official, but like I said, the artist has done a good job on the other art cards. There's something about those shoulders that don't feel right or well placed. And I'm sorry for nitpicking the art for so long. I just had to mention it after staring at this for so long. The 501st clones have meh expertise, once more worse than the droids. However, they have amazing defense dice for a support unit, I guess. A range 5 attack is decent. I mean, a lot of the other ones have it. It honestly feels like almost the standard, and they once more have a looping path. Starting with pinned is interesting, and moving into damage and a shove, then heal, or strained and damage plus reposition, and ending damage too gives a good unique feel to this group that makes up for the fact that they're kind of just the worst support unit in this set, which is kind of sad. Honestly, I wish they were better on paper. But Rex and Anakin are amazing, so something had to be slightly weaker, I guess. And for my final thoughts, for core box, you get a lot character and terrain wise, and it is definitely worth it for the minis alone, not counting the terrain. However, my biggest complaint is the sameness of a lot of the Mandalorians in the box. You get a lot of the same. While it does make sense that they are similar, for a core box, I want things that feel and play different, not the same keywords on half the included units. But this is me being super nitpicky, and I hope you understand that I am still going to get this at some point. And that being said, I also hope I helped you understand how this game works, and didn't confuse any of you. I haven't seen people break down how the different groups play, and in reality, I get why. It's very hard to do with your voice, and I only wish this came out clear. There will be more videos about the rest of the expansions soon, and thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, give your feedback. With a game system as complicated as this, any feedback is appreciated on how to make this a better experience for you to listen to. Have a wonderful day, all, and enjoy your week.